told Joe, no. See, I keep coming, Cedric. I don't care if the person on. I don't care if they say, no, this ain't the good time. Listen, well, maybe tomorrow is a good time. I'm not stopping. I prospect every day, everywhere I go. It doesn't matter. That's a part of your price. You got to prospect. And prospecting means that you're trying to find out if somebody has a mutual interest in what we do. I'm at one of my top RVPs, Cedric, prospecting at a gas station. Because I made a deal with myself that when I leave my house, I don't come back without names. That's a deal I made with myself. I don't come back without names. Why would you leave your house and spend money and don't give yourself a shot to make some? That makes no sense to me. You at the gas station, you at the grocery store, you at McDonald's, you in all these places where you know one or two things. The people hate what they do or they don't get paid enough to do it. You know one or two things. The people hate what they do or they don't get paid enough to do it. And you won't say nothing to nobody. Part of your price is you got to prospect. Every single day. Not I'm taking over. You prospect every day in your business. You don't get all days in your business. Come on, RVP's up sitting at the gas station. He's pumping gas in his car. He's driving a brand new Lexus. He got on a tailor-made suit. I'm driving, I don't know what, some kind of two-door car that barely made it to the gas station lot. But I asked him a key question. Tell me if you heard this one or not before. Are you married to your job or do you keep your options for income open? That's what I said to him because I wasn't going home without getting me some numbers. He said, I keep my options for income open. Matter of fact, I was on my way to a job interview. Signs this IBA, joins the team, $250,000 he makes a year as an RVP because I know that part of my price is prospecting. And I don't not prospect because I'm intimidated. I don't not prospect because I feel a little fear in my belly. I play a trick in my mind. What would I have missed? What would I have missed? What would I have missed if I didn't say nothing to this person? I play that game in my mind. So every time I feel fear and I don't want to say something to nobody or prospect the person, I said, let me see what I would have missed if I wouldn't have said nothing. And that guy, Dr. Dennis Love, $250,000 earner is what I would have missed had I not said something. So fear comes upon you. But Joyce Meyer said that fear, F-E-A-R, is false evidence that's apparent to be real. There's no evidence that nothing bad is going to happen. So paying the price, part of paying the price is prospect. You got to count the cost. Am I willing to go prospect? If you ain't, this probably ain't for you. The second thing you got to do, the great St. Thomas taught me this a long time ago, is you got to set appointments. Some people prospect, get numbers of people, and they don't even call them. Blows my mind. Part of your price is you got to set appointments. And in my opinion, if you spare time, you should have 7 to 10 appointments set every single week if you spare time. If you part-time, you should have 20 to 30 appointments set every single week. And if you're full-time, you should have somewhere between 40 to 60 appointments set every single. Listen, I ain't saying you're going to see them all, but you should set that many. We on Zoom. You should be getting 10 people on the screen a day. You should be taking advantage of social media and mass marketing, asking people are they looking for part-time income or possible career change. We're at an all-time high of unemployment right now. You can't even get unemployment on the phone. And we ain't asking people about coming to work with our company part-time from the comfort of their home. And we got people making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $1 million just sitting on their couch, and we ain't talking. So you got to count up that cost. Am I willing to go prospect and say something to somebody? And when I say something to them, am I willing to go set these appointments up? Because if you ain't willing to do that part, prospect and set appointments, baby, you're in the wrong outfit. People looking at you and they remember all the lies you told them when you first signed your IBA, how rich you're going to be. Listen, they remember everything you said when you was excited. So you got to, listen, you still owe them. All the promises, we're going to have a big house, we're going to have a big car, we're going to do all the stuff you said when the first day before you have to start going through a little fire, a little adversity, they ain't forgot what you told them. And you got people sitting back waiting to cash in on all the promises you made when you looked at this in the first chance before you had any opposition. The third thing, don't be soft. Like I really want to cuss right now, but I already used my 2 cussing words. But you can't be soft. You ain't gonna win at this if you've been a punk and you've been or we'll call it a pansy. This ain't supposed to be easy. You're going to go through some trying times. You cannot be soft. You can't be weak. And I ain't never seen nobody work they soul who weak. The first time your recruit quit, you ready to quit too. You get a charge back, you ready to get out the bed. You can't be soft. Your mom and them won't give you no appointment. No, you listen, you got to toughen up. Somebody gonna hurt your feelings. Somebody gonna say some things that you don't like. Uplines, downlines, sidelines, prospects, clients. You can't be weak and win at this thing. You gotta have some tough skin and you gotta be willing to go through a little something. So you gotta make sure that you're tough enough. You gotta make sure that you understand when somebody gotta correct you, that you can keep on moving, baby. You gotta have some tough skin. You got to figure out what to do. We had a young lady, one of our top producers said she didn't get paid for 2 months. She thought this chargeback percentage stuff was a joke. It came and seen her. Writing up people that wasn't in the market, under age 25 to 45 is the target market. She writing up 22-year-olds. Okay, the first check cleared. The second one probably ain't got a chance on them 22-year-old babies that you was writing up. The first check cleared. The second one ain't got a chance. So 60 days later, these chargebacks coming. 60 days later, she still got a car no due, a house no due. All your bills are due. Chargebacks come when you need your money. Chargebacks come when you need your money. Because see, when she's making the $5 and $6 grand writing up them 22-year-olds, she's spending it and having a good time. Probably it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But the moment now she hit the adversity, now we got to see what you made of, baby. It's all good when it's all good. But let me see now that you ain't got no check in 2 months and your landlord calling your number. Let me see what you're going to be talking about now. See, the young lady, she dug deep. She fought to try to get as many of those policies reinstated as she possibly can. She started doing beneficiary emergency contacts. She didn't punk out. No check for 2 months. Lied to the landlord, hiding the car. 2 months. Pop back out. Now she got an income back to 4 or 5 grand a month at a division leader contract because she didn't punk out. The best thing I ever said about Kiana and I, when we was making $300 a month, we didn't punk out. That's why some months they pay us up to 90 grand. 90 grand. We could have pumped out when we couldn't get in the garage. You don't even know what's on the other side of your adversity. You should be afraid for that reason alone, because you don't know what's on the other side. That reason alone, you should be afraid to quit. The devil ain't messing with nobody who ain't got greatness attached to them. It's someone on the other side of your adversity. He said many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God gonna deliver you from all of them. He ain't say some of them, he said all of them. So how you gonna punk out when he promised you that you're coming out of it? Problem is, don't nobody wanna go through. People wanna stop and retreat. No, through is emotion. If you're going through, you're gonna come out. But you can't be soft, you can't be weak, you gotta be committed. Right? Point number 4, never allow negative people to take space in your mind. You got to get away from the dead, as Art Will said, dead, dull, disillusional, frustrated, daggone crybaby. You can't let negative people rent space in your brain. One of the keys to you winning at this is the circle of people that you're standing around and what you're listening to. Faith come by hearing, good, bad, or indifferent. You think that's just if you're hearing something good, you build your faith on whatever you're listening to. You start to believe that crap. You got people sitting beside you talking about your upline, who introduced you to the business, who teach you how to go make 6 or 7 figures. You got to be crazy. You can't allow negative people rent space in your head. You're going to need all of that energy. I'm telling you, they sucking the life out of you. And when you hit your adversity, you ain't got nothing in your reservoir because of who you've been listening to. You got to get away from it. You can't be afraid to tell them that. Baby, if you ain't got nothing good to say, you ain't talking about where we going. If what you saying ain't pushing us towards our victory, if what you saying ain't pushing us closer, if it ain't pushing us closer to our destiny, baby, I got to get from around you. See, I wasn't listening to nobody who would tell me when we was making $336 a month. I didn't listen to nobody who told me, don't you think you need to get a job? And when my wife said it, we didn't have that. No, you don't need to get no damn job. That was the end of that conversation. We ain't never have it again. Because you got to protect what goes through your ears. I'm listening to God. I know he already cleared this. So I said at the beginning, you better know this is where you're supposed to be. And knowing where you're supposed to be ain't adversity free. The first thing, well, this must not be for me. No, if you got trials, it is for you. Trying times ain't no time to quit trying. But if you listening to the wrong people, you allow the wrong kind of stuff get in your head, baby, you minimizing your chance at victory. Muhammad Ali had somebody he paid to stand in the corner to tell him he the world greatest. Standing in the corner, he had a job to tell him how great he was. You need somebody standing in your ear telling you, you're going to make it. You're going to be big. You're going to be $1 million earner. If they ain't talking like that, you better get away from them. Don't allow negative people to get no space in your ear. Because if you do, baby, you say to him, imagine he got somebody in his corner say, yeah, you're going to get knocked out in the 6th round, Muhammad. How crazy would that look? You got somebody, you in the boxing ring, you fighting for your family, financial future, and you got somebody in the damn corner telling you you should quit. You got somebody in the corner telling you something about the coach who training you, telling you where to duck. And you crazy? Get away from them. They gonna get you knocked out. You fighting for your family's future. The 5th point, you gotta have a system that's gonna yield you predictable income. Predictable and reoccurring income I learned from the great Charles Whiteman. You have to be inside of a system that's gonna allow that. You got to figure out what you ain't, listen, you ain't supposed, because this is commission don't mean that you ain't supposed to get a check every week. Or 2 checks, or 3 checks, or 4 things. That cut to 6 or 7 checks a week if you want to. So you got to have a work ethic and a system that's going to allow that to happen for you. You shouldn't have to play scared all your life and career in primary. You should know you're getting a check. Anytime if we don't get a check in the day, I'm like, what the hell did happen? I expect a check every day. But I put a system in place, I put some work ethic in place that's going to assure that what are you doing to make sure you go cash flow every single week? You go 30 days and don't nothing hit your account. You go 30 days in a company like this, and they paid almost $1 billion to the sales force last year. How you go 30 days and don't get nothing? You got to have a predictable system and work ethic that's going to cause cash flow to keep hitting your account. If they're willing to pay, why won't you take a check? So what are you doing systematically that's going to make that happen? See, I tell my teammates all the time, you better learn how to do beneficial emergency contacts so you can keep telling the story to somebody. That's a systematic way to keep you in front of people. Character evidence, that's a systematic way to keep you in front of people. Or mastering the art of tapping a new recruit's warm market because you've been prospecting and setting appointments, baby. You better have a predictable way to make sure your money keep coming and don't stop. You should be shocked when you don't get paid, not expecting not to. Some of you are here right now, don't expect no check by Friday. Don't expect no check by Saturday. That means that you don't have a predictable system that you're working, and ain't because you ain't got one, it's because you won't work it. You got to have predictable systems and so you can have a predictable income. Listen, stop playing scared. You got to, you can't be doing that wake up every day panicking. Decide what you want to be. You want to be part-time? Then be the best part-timer you can be. You want to be full-time? Be the best full-timer you can be. But don't be full-time. Don't be fooling yourself, acting like you're doing primary. You ain't doing primary. If you're doing primary, you get checks every week. You ain't doing primary. You showing up on Zooms, thinking you're going to get paid because we counting attendance. Your job pay you show up money. Your job pay you show up money. Your job pay you show up money. Primerica pay us piecework. You turn the piece of business, they send us a check. Your job pay you when you show up. That don't happen here. So you got to make sure that you got a system that's going to give you predictable income. Point number 6. You got to revisit your why on a regular basis. You got to revisit your why. Why the hell did I sign up to do this? Why did I give this company $124 that I probably didn't even have at the time? Why did you give them $124? Why did you join Primerica? You have to revisit that on the regular basis because sometimes you lose your fire. Sometimes you lose your motivation. Sometimes you lose that intensity. You can't allow that to happen to you. And if your why don't make you get your butt back going, then it ain't big enough. See, anytime Ronnell get unfocused, he go back and think about when Kiana said, do I need to get a job? He go back and think about when Kiana said, do I need to go and get a job? Hell no, you don't know get a job. You ain't gonna never ask me that again. We're going to build a business. When we die, our kids going to get it. When they die, their kids going to get it. When they die, my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkids going to still get paid off of this deal when we dead and gone.
Come on, man. Let's go, Ronnell. Come on, man.
Every time I start slipping in my mind, I revisit my why. Why the hell I signed up to be free, baby? And freedom ain't free. It comes with a price. It comes with adversity. So you got to go back and revisit your why. Why are you here? Why did you sign up? Did you get, or are you getting, or are you moving towards getting what you came for? Revisit your why. My last 2 points. And this is number 7 is probably the most important one, because this is where most of y'all get it twisted at. Know the difference between seed time and harvest. Know the difference between seed time and harvest. There's a point in your business where you got to sow your seed back into it to generate your harvest. Some of you district leaders, division leaders, regional leaders, you ain't never bought nobody a damn t-shirt. You waiting on the RVP. You signed an independent business application. Treat it like it's a business. You got to sow back into it. A closed hand can't receive nothing either. You got to put seed in your business. You got to run contests, in my opinion, for t-shirts and that's to a football game and a district leader contract. You got to do that. Don't eat your seed. George Harrison now talking. He told me one day, he said, right now, what you have in your hand don't meet your need. If what you have in your hand don't meet your need, that's not your harvest. That's your seed. And seed goes into the ground. None of y'all mamas ain't taught y'all don't eat off the floor. What's supposed to go in the ground, keep it on the ground. You got to sow into your business to create some momentum, to create some work ethic. Most people is more excited about chasing the carrot than making money. So if you ain't sowing in your business, if you ain't getting the tools you need, some of y'all still, all your appointments, you on your cell phone. Damn, you ain't gonna never buy you a laptop. You ain't gonna never get a MacBook. Don't eat your seed. Get you some clothes and some gear and spruce yourself up or something.
I'm gonna do better.
You better do better, because they got a plan for you if you don't. So know the difference between seed time and harvest. And again, it's seed time, then harvest. Seed, there's a point period in your business where you put your seed in the ground. And after you put your seed in the ground, you don't stand still and wait on the harvest. It's some time in between that. Just because you prospecting 100 people this week, that don't mean you're gonna go blow up. It's some time in between that. You don't know the time. He said, in due season, you're gonna reap if you faint not. The problem is, people, you don't know when you do, and you don't got no patience. He said, let patience have its perfect work in you. So you can be entire and you won't want for nothing. You ain't patient. He said you're going to plant your seed and then there's some time in between. He said you're going to plant your seed, then there's some time in between. Then you'll get your harvest. It's 5.5 years before we went over $500,000. Seed, time, then harvest. Why did we would have quit when we was in the time space? Why did we would have quit when we was at $336 and barely made it home? You got to know the difference. We had to take the $336 that couldn't pay none of the bills anyway and put that $336 in the ground. And then the biggest part of our organization started coming out of Kansas City first, because we didn't eat our seed. We put it in the ground. Seed, time, then you get your harvest. See, the harvest is plentiful. The harvest is plentiful. But y'all labors are few. You ain't recruiting nobody. Don't nobody know you do primary but you. I'm helping somebody. Y'all got a shot. I'm helping somebody. I'm helping somebody.
Hey, man, you know you teaching, man. Come on, coach.
A whole lot of us.
I'm helping somebody.
A whole lot of us today.
Hey, listen, I done sweated. I'm on my 5th towel. Ain't nobody send me no cash app offering yet. I'm on my 5th towel. Y'all stop playing. All right, listen, let me give y'all point A. Let me give you point A, because my heart beating fast now. Let me give y'all point A. Y'all ready? Point A. Have a hope for an expected end. Have a hope for an expected end. You got to see what the finished picture is supposed to look like for you. You're supposed to drew that up already. What is it supposed to look like when you get through paying the price? What is it supposed to look like when you went through the time space because you planted your seed? What is your expected end? What is it supposed to look like when you done? You got to have the Bible said that God had an expected end for you. He said have towards you, thoughts that are good, and to bring you to an expected end. God have an expectation on you, shouldn't you? What is it supposed to look like when you're done? And see, when you know what it's supposed to look like when you're done, you keep fighting when it's trouble. You have to have your expected end that keeps you going when you want to quit, that keeps you going when you want to stop. What is your expected end? When you're done playing the price charm, what does it look like for your family? If you ain't drew that picture up, baby, you still playing. I know when I get done with this. I know when I get through going through what I got to go through. I know when he get done preparing me. I know what it's going to look like. I know that it was worth it because I got an expectation. I got an expected end. Come on, somebody. Tell me what it's supposed to look like for you. And if you ain't figured out what it's supposed to look like, don't you close your eyes tonight and go to sleep. Don't you close your eyes tonight and go to sleep without knowing what the finished picture is.
I want it in Jesus' name. Amen.
You got to know what it's supposed to look like, baby. Because when you get tired, when you get weary, he said, do not be weary in well-doing. Due season, you're going to reap if you don't faint. But you faint when you don't know what the finish is supposed to look like. I get excited every day because I know I got an expect. I know what it's going to look. I see myself driving the Rolls Royce, baby. I see myself in a 20,000 square foot house, baby. I see my kids and my seed not begging for bread, baby. I know what it's going to look like when I'm finished. So I wake up with hope. I wake up with joy. I wake up with enthusiasm every single morning. It ain't about what I'm going through. It's what I'm finna get to. It ain't about what I'm going through. It's what I'm about to get to. You gotta go, man. You gotta make that clear to yourself. So, Cedric, that's what I have for you guys tonight, brother. And I'll turn it back over to you.
Got a quick question.
Thank you.
When it came to prospecting, what are the things that you teach your team that they need to do on a daily basis when it comes to prospecting?
So, Cedric, what we believe is that you should have a system, okay? So I can't duplicate Ronnell from a talent aspect. All right. God bless me with the ability to encourage, to persuade, and things like that. I can't teach you that. That was a gift. You got no difference between a gift. Everybody got their own gifts. He gave you gifts accordingly. You don't got my gift. So I can't tell them to be Ronnell. So we run systems. So what I tell my team is this. Listen, when you get somebody to say they're interested in Primerica, I ain't said they joined. I ain't said they came to the op meeting. I said they said they're interested. When they say they're interested, I need you to send them over preliminary application to see if they can qualify for what they think they're interested in. And if you send them over preliminary application, ask them if they got any bankruptcies, if they got any felonies, any misdemeanors, have they had any background with working with people. Then it said, give us 5 character references, people that will say you're a good person. And when they give us those 5 character references, we call them and we ask them people, hey, would you consider Cedric to be a dependable and trustworthy person? Yeah, Cedric's a great guy. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rank Cedric when it comes to people skills? Oh, Cedric, he's about 8. Okay, if you started your own business today and it was centered around customer service, will Cedric be one of the people that you would hire for? Absolutely. Well, awesome. I thank you so much for giving Cedric a great reference. I'll definitely let them know you put in a good word for him. Hey, listen, one more thing before I let you go. Our company is expanding in era, and we're looking to hire 13 people over the next 45 days. Or do you know someone just as sharp as Cedric that's looking for part-time income or a possible career change? They either going to say, yes, they do. They're looking themselves, or they're going to give you a name. So I don't have to worry about prospecting and going out to malls and I'm going to do it if I'm out. I ain't going to the mall to prospect. I'll prospect at the mall because I'm in there. I ain't going to do I got a system. When I prospect one person, they don't give me 5 more names. And when they give me 5 more names, those 5 more names usually lead me to a minimum of 5 or 10 more names. Because when I get through doing the reference, I ask you, do you know anybody just as sharp as Cedric who might be looking for part-time income or possible career change? They gave me 5 more names. And then I call that person and say, hey, this is Ronnell. You don't know me, but we got a mutual friend, it's Cedric. Our company is expanding, and Cedric said you was looking for part-time income. Was Cedric correct in saying that? Yeah. Okay, let me ask you a couple questions because I can't promise you anything. All right. Have you had any background with customer service and work with people? Absolutely. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Don't be too biased, but how would you rate yourself with people skills? Oh, I'm giving myself a 9. Okay, great. Listen, let me ask you this. You got any felonies in your background? Can you pass a background check? Absolutely. But listen, I can't promise anything, but what I do want to do is I want to set you up for an online interview on Zoom. I got a slot open at 6 o'clock or it's 8 o'clock better. 8 o'clock works good for me. Bam, they on the Zoom. But before they get on my Zoom, guess what they got to fill out too? A pre-screening application. Guess what they got to put on it? 5 more references. When do I run out of people? Never. Never. I got a system. Never said if you run a system that's predictable, I can see you may go out mauling all day long and don't get no numbers. The security guards might throw you out. I got a system. Run the system. And how many prospects should you get there? In my opinion, a minimum of 5. You should prospect a minimum of 5 people a day, minimally 5 a day. Minimum. And if you're serious, hey, listen, I prospect 25 people minimum every day and said we already on our way to $1 million a year. I prospect 25 people every day minimum while I'm laying on my back before I get out of my bed and go empty my bladder before I go pee in the morning. I inbox 25 people. Or do you know somebody look for part-time income work from home? My company is planning to look for 13 people next 45 days before I get out the bed. Because I don't trust me. Because once I get out the bed, you start getting busy. Your life start taking. I'm getting 25 off before I get up. If I don't inbox 25 people, I gotta pee in the bed. I don't think that's gonna work out for me. So I send out my 25. That's what I do. I hope that answers your question, Cedric.
It sure did, brother. It sure did. Right now, you've done a great job. You got any questions for me? I know you got your team on. Anything you think your team would need to know, or we good?
I ain't good, Cedric. I mean, you're a senior national sales director. I think you've been in primary almost 30 years, if not more. And Cedric, well, my question to you is, as a senior national sales director, executive board of council, AALC council, Cedric, what are some of the things as you went to primary? You went through the hurricane and all that stuff, like the Katrina and all that, right? What are some of the key things that you would say that kept you going when most would have been wiped out? What would you say is some of the key things? This is why Cedric Thomas has been here for 30 years. This is why Cedric Thomas is a senior national sales director. This is why Cedric Thomas is about the next $1 million earner in Primerica. What would you say a couple of those key things was?
I think that's a very good question. And what I would say is, because you mentioned earlier, of the last point that you made, was that you got to know what your end game is. And when you got a goal of your future, and you can see it through face eyes, and you understand how this whole life thing works, that adversity, for example, most people, most companies right now, and even us, when the pandemic hit a year ago, we thought that, oh, well, here, we about to go to hell in a handbasket, right? But all God was doing was setting us up for major success, right? As a result, so I think what happens is that I've learned in life that it's not what you mentioned, it's not where you're at, it's where your destiny is. And we're the creators of our destiny. One of the things I've been blessed to find out, and God has blessed me with wisdom on, is that we're it right now. We're it. We're it when it comes to the manifestation of the things that we desire in our life. Mm. And so wherever everybody is on this webinar tonight, where you are in life, you like it or not, you did it. Mm. You got yourself here. And so when I was going through that, it was just the experiences that I learned, and I understood that, man, I had to keep where I was going. And that in the middle of all adversity, there's an opportunity. You just got to find it. You got to recognize what God is doing. God is setting you up for major success if you can hold on to the vision. And so I think one of the things I've learned, and what I would say to your team, is recognize that, look, there are 3 things that allow us to create and manifest whatever we want in our life. It's the thoughts that we have. So that's why it's so important that we challenge our thoughts. Challenge the limiting beliefs that are holding us back. I tell a story, for example, and people don't realize it. My son, who's about to become one of Primerica's next ring wearers, and so one time JT was getting ready to go to a securities academy in Atlanta, right? The ALC was having, and I noticed he was packing his bags, but he did not have he has an Apple computer, and he didn't have it with him, and I said, well, JT, why are you not taking your computer? And it's just small little stuff. And so he says, because it's so difficult, I'm not bringing his heart to get through the airport. And so I say, JT, I said, look, I ain't so certain I'd buy into that belief. Because he said, man, I got to the airport, I got to take it out of the bag, all this kind of stuff. Say, bro, watch the limiting beliefs that you have. And so it's the thoughts that we have, and then the words that we speak. Right now, people want something, but they speak contrary to what they want, right? And so we get what we say. And so one of the things that I've learned, one of the first books that I read was by a preacher by the name of Charles Capps. I was 25 years old when I read this book, and it helped me. And it was, the title of the book is The Tongue, a Creative Force. And that is the one book that began to get me to understand that I don't let anything come out of my mouth. I only say what it is that I want. Right now, you know, probably, and I know I think I saw Dante on here earlier, but right now, you don't have any idea how long I've been calling myself an SNSD? For freaking ever. For two decades, maybe, at least a decade, if not two. That if you call my voicemail, it says you reached a voicemail of future Senior National Sales Director, Cedric T. Thomas. And look, right now, here's something the Spirit of God shared with me about this time last year. You know, I grew up in the hood, so I ain't never been interested in plants or nothing. But I get later on in life, I start going on these 21 and 48 fasts, and I get fascinated with plants and growth. So I'm planting all these plants, teammates, around my house. And the little Spanish guy comes and plants all these plants. I don't do it. He comes planting all these plants. And after it's said and done, he says, Mr. Thomas, you got to put in a sprinkler system. But until then, you got to water the plants. And I'm from the hood, so I'm thinking, water the plant. He said, twice a day. Twice a day? I'm thinking you just plant the crap and it grows, right? The earth does. And so I water it. Then Joe Ward says, look, come to my wedding. Me and my wife go to Houston for 3 days. I come back right now. The plants ain't been in the ground for 2 weeks or something, and they starting to die. And I can't get out of fast enough to water the plants. And then the Spirit of God starts talking to me. And God says, Cedric, you know, if you want apples, you plant an apple seed. You water the seed, but the earth produces. And Cedric, is that way in the seen and in the unseen. All you did was you planted an idea, Senior National Sales Director. And that's what I should say to everybody. Say, look, if you make a decision you're going to do this, then you need to start planting the idea. And then, Cedric, all you did is you watered it with your words. I'm a Senior National Sales Director. I'm a Senior National Sales Director. I'm a Senior National Sales. That's all Muhammad Ali did. Was I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest. And you watered the unseen with your words, but I produce. And so right now, what I would say to everybody on here is make a decision what you want. And what I had enough wisdom to recognize is that how God would work and how it works. And then you set goals. I set goals to do what? Get on the wall of fame, check. Become an SNSD, check. Become well, I've been saying for years, a multi-million-dollar earner. That means I make $2 million a year. Right now, when I went over 5, I was about to put on Facebook, 5 down, 5 to go. And the Spirit of God said, no, 5 down and 15 more to go. And so that's what I would say right now is I would say to the team is that, look, man, is that once you see, people don't know the creative ability that they have, that we're just like gods, right? In fact, not like, we are. Now you say, well, how's that? Because we have the same creative power that God did. We're made in his image.
Come on now.
Right? We're created in his image and in his likeness. And just like God did it, we do it, right? At one time, teammates, there was one language, one understanding, one interpretation, and man spoke the entire same language. And the Bible records that God came, that man got together and said, look, let's build a city. Let's build an SNSD hierarchy. Let's build 100 RVPs, right? And let's build a tower to the heavens so that we can reach God. And it says that God came along and God said to himself, you know, you're a 3-part being, so is God. Spirit, soul, and body, right?
Amen.
So God said to himself, look a man and their imagination. And then the 6 most powerful words I ever heard God say. There isn't anything man can't do. And I say to you, look at you and your imagination. What are you imagining? Lack? What are you imagining? Difficulty? What are you imagining? That you can't recruit? What are you imagining? That you can't build? What are you imagining? RVP promotion? What are you imagining? Senior national sales director? What are you imagining? Six-figure income earner? What are you imagining? Cedric Thomas, Wall of Famer? What are you imagining? 100 recruits? Look a man in their imagination, there isn't anything you can't do. And then what he did was that the Bible records that he divided their tongue. And I said, well, Lord, why their tongues? And you said their imagination. Here's why. Because God understood the creative power that is in your words. Folks, you got to understand, one day I was out exercising and the Spirit of God said, Cedric, tell your people to put their mouths to work. See, when God wanted to bring down the walls of Jericho, see, you think them people would have been fighting with swords and spears and all this kind of stuff. God told the people to go and walk around the place 7 times and then shout. Use their mouths and put your mouth to work. I'm answering this deep. Learn the lesson of Muhammad Ali, right? I ask people all the time, who's the greatest of all time? When it comes to boxing, they say Muhammad Ali. And I say, who told you that bullshit? He did. Now look when he told you. He didn't tell you at 60, 50 fights. Let's assume he fought 60 fights. He didn't tell you at 55 the greatest of all time. He told you at 3. At 3, it was impossible for him to believe that he was the greatest of all time. But he kept saying, I'm the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time. They put him in jail. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. He gets out of jail. I'm the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time. He fights Joe Frazier. I'm the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time. He loses to Joe Frazier. I'm the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time. He fights Michael Spinks. I'm the greatest of all time. Loses Leon Spinks. I'm the greatest of all time. He fights Larry Holmes. I'm the greatest of all time. Who was his sparring partner, kicked his ass, has a better track record, but in our consciousness, he's the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. Learn the lesson from Muhammad Ali. That's what I did. Right now, is I kept calling myself who I wanted to become, just like you mentioned. And who am I calling Cedric Thomas to be today? God has birthed inside of me an idea that we're going to produce 100 regional vice presidents in our hierarchy. Now, how do I get it? Here's how you get it. Number one, you ask big. You've been asking God too small. You might as well ask big, teammates, right? Ask big. Why? Because God's bigger than what you can ask. Number 2 is then you get a vision for it. Man, you write it down. And the word of God says to write the vision, make it plain. But though the vision, here's what I found out, is that I timestamp everything. And I got a time and God's got a time. And 90% of the time, them ain't the same time. But though the vision tarries, it's for an appointed time. Right? I tell the story how I got on the Wall of Fame. Listen, people, I'm the little kid grew up on the Parkway. How did I get on the Wall of Fame? Here's how I did it. Man, I created a vision. I start calling myself a Wall of Fame, a Wall of Fame, a Wall of Fame. I go exercise, Wall of Fame. I visualize me and my family dressed in white. I time-stamped it. In 2015, Columbus goes in. I don't go in. Though the vision tarries is for an appointed time, I created a belief, and God worked all the crap out. God did it. Because I had belief, and then so that's what's happening. That's how that works.
Wow. Yeah, thank you so much, bro. This has been an honor to speak with you guys, and blessed for you to speak back to our team, Cedric. It's just been amazing.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, fantastic, Ronnell. Well, I thank you, brother. You have poured into our lives tonight, and it's always a blessing when we have you on. And check your cash out, my man. Check your cash out.
Yeah, you the best church. Come on now. Look at that.
Check your cash out.
That's the biggest cash app I ever got right today. That's the biggest cash app I ever got right there. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Right now, I got to share one other thing with you.
Sure.
And folks, what I'm about to tell you, I went on during this pandemic, I've never done this. A fast for me was you miss breakfast, you miss lunch, you have an early dinner. You do that for a couple of times. But this time last year, I started going on these lengthy fasts. And like 21, I went on 42-day fast. I went 42 days without eating food, man. When you understand why Jesus was so powerful, God starts talking to you. So I started, God, now listen, people, this will bless you. I need everybody to pay attention. About 4 years ago, I started creating a belief or something. Remember, how do you create belief? Any thought that is repeated out of your mouth with emotion becomes a belief. So so you understand this, right? That it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. Y'all understand that, right? There's more blessing. And that when you give, it comes back to you more. You understand? But I started creating a belief right now that every time I would bless God's people, because he'd send me to bless God's people, that I would get 100-fold return on all my giving. Now, so I started making this confession. Now, at the time, I didn't believe it, but I knew that any thought that you repeat with emotion becomes a belief. So I kept saying, every time God will send somebody, because here's why. God wants to bless the needs of his people. But the money ain't gonna come out the sky. The homeless person, the sister in need, whoever it may be, the church, if they're gonna bless, God's gonna get money to them, it's gotta come through you, okay? So I started saying every time I would give, I'm out field training my son JT, and the little guy at the gas station, sir, can you help me out? Yes, sir. What do you need? Can you give me $1? I give him 5. But I started saying every time I give some money, I say, Lord, I thank you that this comes to me 100 times better, and this is for my wall of fame, whatever it is. So I double seeded 100-fold return. This is for my promotion. If you're not RVP, Lord, God's gonna send the people to bless you. Lord, I thank you. I get 100-fold return on this money. This is for my promotion. So I kept saying this over and over again. I go to buy my wife a car. Y'all hang in there with me. This is gonna bless you, I promise you. So I go buy my wife a Mercedes Benz, and I like this Benz I like, and so we've been frugal with our money, riding around Fords, and so then she says, well, I want a Benz. So in the long story short, I go buy her a Benz, I get a Benz. What do you do with cars? You trade them in. The Spirit of God told me, don't trade it in, get the cars away. You keep your car, give Tanya's car away. I called my sister, I said, Joan, Spirit of God told me to give you this car. She started crying. I said, Joan, don't cry. I'm your brother. God told me to bless you. You don't need to cry. She stops crying. We get together. She starts crying again. We go to a title company. She says, Cedric, I had just been praying. And, I ain't make all the right decisions that you made in my life, but man, I just been praying, and people kept turning me down for cars. And I said, Lord, I'm going to take this little hoop that I got. I'm going to wash it. I'm going to keep it clean. But Lord, I don't need nobody to finance a car. You're going to give me a car and I won't have to pay a dime for it. Right? So she starts crying again. I start crying with her. Why? Because God is talking to me. Right now, I'm sitting at the title company. I asked the people how much the car is worth. And the gentleman said the blue book value on this car is $15,000. The Spirit of God speaks to me and says, today, that comes back to you 100 times more. Now you do the math, that's a lot of money. Now I ain't get the money today. If you understand how God works, it's there, it's gonna come to me. So listen, people, you give to get, to give to get, to give so that you can get, so that you can give. Mm. Now listen to me, what I'm about to tell you right now is a revelation God gave me right now that is gonna bless people. Now we hear all the time that he that gives to the poor lends to God, and he shall surely repay, amen, with abundance. We know that. But it also says that the borrower is servant to the lender. Now listen, people, you can't go down to a mortgage company and you decide if you're going to borrow money, what the rate's going to be and how long you're going to pay the terms. The bank or the borrower does that. You can't get a car note that way. You can't get a mortgage that way. You can't get a credit card. They determine the terms of the note. I lend this lady, and this lady calls me up because when you start giving to God's people, it's going to start out being tens and then hundreds. And then when you're faithful, he's going to bring thousands. So this lady calls me up, says, Cedric, I'm between jobs. Will you lend me some money so I can get on? No problem. When my retirement money comes, I'm going to give it to you in 30 days. 30 days goes by. She says, look, I ain't got the money yet. 60 days go by. I ain't got the money yet. 90 days go by. I don't even hear from her. Spirit of God says, Cedric, call her up and forgive the debt. Lord, this is $3,500. Forgive the debt. Because he that gives to the Lord, he that gives to those in need, lends to God, and God shall surely repay in abundance. So then a month later in February, she gives, listen, people, it's going to bless you. She gives me a call. She says, Cedric, can you stop by my house? This is our address, afternoon. I'm thinking I'm going to get my $3,500. I get there. She says, Cedric, look, something had happened. I ain't got the money. I said, Nettie, actually, I didn't say the girl's name. Look, two weeks ago, the Spirit of God told me to forgive the debt. You don't owe me nothing. She starts, why? And I explained to her, he that gives to the needy, I didn't want to call the girl poor. So I said, he that gives to the needy, lends to God, God should surely repay. While I'm sitting there, the Spirit of God says, Cedric, when you go buy a mortgage, you don't tell a mortgage company, I'm going to pay you 0.25% interest and it's going to take you 80 years. The mortgage company or the borrower determines the terms of the note. When you lend to the people in need, you cause me to become a borrower and you set the terms of the note. And I will repay whatever your terms are. Your term had to be, you just determined that your term was 100-fold return. And I shall pay it with abundance. Folks, that day, Ronnell, I understood that the way in which you get God obligated to work on your behalf is to give to people that are in need. You understand that? Because when you give to people in need, God becomes a borrower, and every borrower, the mortgage company, the credit card company, the car note, the loans, even the payday loans, the people that borrow are serving to the lender. And when you give to the people, when you give to God's people, God then becomes a lender and he's subject to the terms of your note. That ought to bless somebody.
That's powerful right there, Cedric. That's powerful.
Right? So if you want to become an RVP, when God finds somebody come around, Lord, hey, Lord, I'm giving to this person. I want 100-fold return. This from an RVP promotion. Lord, I want 100-fold return. This is from a $100,000 base shop. Lord, I want 100 for this is for me getting on the wall of fame. Lord, I want. You follow what I'm saying? So here's what you might say, well, Cedric, what you giving for now? For 100 RVPs. Lord, this is for my 100-fold return, Lord. And I thank you that it comes from my 100 RVPs that I override. You determine the terms of the note. It ain't too big for God. I hope y'all caught it, because the day the Spirit of God gave it to me, partner, I caught it. I caught it. That God wants it. Look. Here's what the Spirit of God told me right now. He said, look, I supply every need. The money ain't gonna come out the sky. I supply every need, everybody's need. I supply every need. But you determine the need. Cedric, some people their need is $50 and some of them are 50 million. You determine the need, but I supply. Now I said, well, Lord, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna complete some needs. I need 100 RVPs. I supply them. You determine the need. Some people just need, Lord, I just need to make $500. Okay, well, you're gonna get it. I hope that helped.